I think it's about time to look at the best non-conference games of 2021. Yep, it's about time. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? It's me again, Golden Blue Dude. Hey, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I do college football videos every single day. So, if you don't like this video, you might find one that you might like. Don't forget, guys, Golden Blue Dude does have a sponsor now. It's called Tri-State Wood Sketch. So go check out his website at www.tristatewoodsketch.com. He does great stuff like that. You can send him a picture and he'll put it on wood and it looks amazing. And by the way, he's running a promo right now. If you mention that Golden Blue Dude sent you, he'll take 20% off. Yeah, I thought it was about time to talk about the best non-conference games in 2021. There's a good bit out there, more than I thought there would be. But really, they happen in a bunch because once you get later on in the season, they kind of thin out. So I decided to go week by week, giving you the best non-conference games of 2021. I kind of divided it into half though, the best and the most interesting. We're going to start out with week one. First, I'm going to talk about the more interesting games. These aren't the most important, but they are interesting. The first game I wanted to talk about was Stanford against Kansas State. This will take place in Dallas. Both of these teams are on the upswing. Stanford had a surprisingly good season last year, and I think Chris Klieman has Kansas State pointed in the right direction. They could contend for the Big 12 in a couple of years. But for this year, I think they're going to be battling it out for that third spot. So if you want to watch a good game, this might be one to watch. Louisiana against Texas. Last year, Louisiana went to Ames and beat a very good Iowa State team. Texas is not as good as Iowa State was last year. I think Louisiana can go on the road again and beat a Big 12 team. This might be the game of the year for the group of 5 teams. Boise State against UCF. It will be a home game for UCF. Both of these are top tier as far as group of 5 teams. And I think in the not too distant future, both of these teams will get an invite into a Power 5 conference. Boise State had a little bit of a down year last year, but I think they bounced back. UCF lost their head coach and their athletic director, but I think UCF has a lot of talent, and they got a transfer from Notre Dame, a former 4-star wide receiver, Jordan Johnson. So it should be a good game. Next up, San Jose State at USC in LA. USC is looking to get back in the hunt for a Pac-12 championship, but look out for San Jose State. Do not overlook them. They had a great year last year. They returned pretty much everybody. So you better play your A game, USC, because San Jose State is definitely capable of upsetting you. Next up, Notre Dame at Florida State. This could be a tricky game for Notre Dame. Florida State is on the rise, and it's the first game of the season, so both teams will be working out kinks. There is a potential for an upset here. Ole Miss against Louisville. This could be an underrated game as well. I think Ole Miss will be contending for the SEC West second place. Not first place, second place. I think they could leapfrog Texas A&M for that second spot. I think Louisville has a bounce back year with Malik Cunningham, and this might set the tone for either one of these programs to have a good season or a bad season. LSU against UCLA in Pasadena might be a good game to watch. LSU trying to get back to an elite level. Brendan Miles, their quarterback, had an iffy year, not a bad year last year. He could have a better year, but Chip Kelly at UCLA is building something, so watch out for them. Might be a great game to watch. I had to include this game because it's my team, West Virginia at Maryland. I think West Virginia is the better team, but it is on the road. Maryland does have talent. This might end up being a back and forth game. But the two games, the best games that will impact the playoffs. Alabama at Miami. This is Miami's chance to make a statement and get a great win. But a big chunk of that depends on if D'Eriq King is fully healthy. If he's fully healthy, Miami has a shot, not a big shot, but a shot to pull a stunner against Alabama. Alabama is reloading. They always reload, but they don't have the experience that they did last year. So all eyes are on D'Eriq King to see if he's fully healthy for this game. Then, of course, Georgia, Clemson. This is directly going to affect the playoffs. I'm actually going to pick Georgia to win this ball game. Georgia has more talent this year than Clemson. That's amazing, but Clemson is Clemson, and they are dominating. Plus, Kirby Smart overthinks. If Kirby Smart can avoid overthinking, Georgia will win this football game. The question is, will he? Week 2, interesting games. The first one up, Texas, Arkansas. This could be a really good game. Arkansas up on the rise. I know. They only had 3 wins last year, but they looked really good. Texas will have a step back this year, so Arkansas has a chance to have a good win against Texas. In-state rivalry, Iowa against Iowa State. Iowa State is the better team. It is in Ames, but Iowa's going to be a good team in the Big Ten. I think they'll challenge Wisconsin Wisconsin for the Big Ten West. Washington at Michigan. Michigan needs to win this game. Well, specifically, Jim Harbaugh needs to win this game, but Washington has a ton of talent returning from last year. Would not surprise me if the Huskies go into Ann Arbor and pull off a mild upset. Oh yes, Kansas against Coastal Carolina. This has turned into a little bit of a rivalry with Coastal Carolina owning Kansas, and I think it happens again, but I still like watching this game. Tulsa at Oklahoma State. They almost pulled off the upset last year. They'll get another shot at it this year. Spencer Sanders coming back and a lot of weapons coming back, but can they live up to their potential? They didn't do it last year. Can they do it this year? I don't know. This should be a good game. And then the Holy War, Utah against BYU. This time it's in Provo. The BYU will have a significant home field advantage. I think Utah will be a slightly better team this year. Of course, BYU loses quarterback Zach Wilson, so I'm not sure how the quarterback situation is going to go for BYU, but this is a rivalry. It's going to be a good game. But the best non-conference game of week 2 is going to be Oregon at Ohio State. Honestly, I think Oregon is getting a little too overhyped. I don't think they're going to be all that good. I think they could finish second behind Washington with probably 2 or 3 losses. I mean, they'll have a good season, but not a great season. Ohio State will take a step back, but it is a home game. I think Ohio State takes care of business, but it's still an important game for both of these teams. Keep an eye out for it. On to week 3, the first game I want to talk about, UCF at Louisville. This could be a really good game. It is in Louisville. We'll see what kind of season Louisville can have. I think they do have a bounce back season, but this will be a test. Mississippi State at Memphis could be a good game. I don't know. Mike Leach bringing in the air raid didn't do all that well last year. Can he get things going and get Mississippi State back to a bowl? This will be a good test for that. Michigan State at Miami. I mean, I really don't know why I put this game on here. I think Miami will wax the floor with Michigan State. Virginia Tech, West Virginia. Yes, my team again, I know, but this is a healthy rivalry. We did play Virginia Tech a few years ago. They still have that trophy, and West Virginia wants it, and I think West Virginia has the better team, and it's in Morgantown. If anybody knows anybody that has any cheap tickets to this game, I want them. Tulsa at Ohio State. This could be an underrated game as well. Tulsa and that defense, and Ohio State will take a step backwards. What if Tulsa upsets Oklahoma State and they go into this game with a lot of confidence? Watch out for Tulsa. Oklahoma State has to go to the blue turf and play Boise State. This could be a really good game. Boise State could pick up a big win over Power 5, build their resume to get to a New Year's Six bowl. Arizona State and BYU. I think Arizona State will contend for the Pac-12 South, but it is tough to play at BYU. If Arizona State could pull off this win, this could set the tone for a great season for the Sun Devils and Jaden Daniels for his Heisman Trophy contention. But the biggest game in week 3 will be Cincinnati at Indiana. This is Cincinnati's first opportunity to get a win against a Power 5. Was last year's Indiana's team a fluke? I don't know. But if Cincinnati wants to erase any doubt of them belonging in the playoffs, they have to win this game. And will Indiana actually sell out this game? That's my question. What's the over-under on the attendance on this game? Somebody give me that number. Week 4, this is where the interesting games start to thin out, but there's still a few out there. First up, Marshall against Appalachian State. This is starting to turn into a little bit of a rivalry. It is at Appalachian State, and I would like to see the Mountaineers beat Marshall. Hey, if our Mountaineers can't do it, I want another Mountaineer to do it. Next up, Liberty against Syracuse. Can Syracuse avenge their loss from last year? I don't know. Liberty has a really good team, but they did struggle a little bit against Syracuse. Syracuse could pull off this upset. Missouri at Boston College. I don't know. It looks like it could be interesting. Maybe Boston College with the boring home field advantage can pull off an upset here, because I do expect Missouri to contend for that second spot in the SEC East. I think Georgia head and shoulders above everybody else, but that second spot, I think Missouri can grab it. But the best game of this week, Notre Dame against Wisconsin in Chicago. This could roundabout affect the playoffs, because Wisconsin has a decent enough schedule to where they could go undefeated, and if they won the Big Ten championship, Wisconsin can make the playoffs. But of course, Notre Dame's a great brand. If they can avoid having more than one loss, they would be in the playoffs as well. So watch this game. Now we're on week number 5, and the only reason I put this on here is because it's a chance for Vanderbilt to get a win. I'm talking about UConn and Vanderbilt. Can Vanderbilt get a win in the regular season? This might be their best shot. But the best game of week 5 is going to be Cincinnati at Notre Dame in South Bend. This is Cincinnati's second opportunity to get a win over a Power 5. Even though Notre Dame is not in the conference, they still are considered a Power 5 team. Now this could really boost Cincinnati's resume if they could get the win. Week number 6, Notre Dame at Virginia Tech. I mean, if this is a night game, it could be intimidating, and I don't think Notre Dame is elite enough, say like a Clemson or Alabama, to overcome that early in the game. They could win the game, but this could be a long game for Notre Dame if they don't watch out. This game is a battle of the group of 5s. Boise State against BYU. If Boise State wants to get to a New Year's Six bowl, this is a must win, and it will be a tough test for Boise State. Week 7, I could only really find one interesting out of out-of-conference game. BYU and Baylor could be interesting. I don't know. Baylor's going to be really close to making a bowl this year. This could be a make-or-break game, so it could be interesting in that fashion. Who knows? Week 8, possibly BYU and Washington State. I don't know. I might check that game out. I don't know yet. The big game of Week 8 will be USC at Notre Dame. Another test for Notre Dame. I'm telling you, their schedule is going to be difficult this year. USC will not be a gimme win for Notre Dame. I'm hoping this goes back to the 80s and 90s when this was a great rivalry. I'm hoping this is a good game. It should be. Week 9. Really the only game worth mentioning as far as out-of-conference, North Carolina and Notre Dame. And yes, I'm counting it because Notre Dame is not a full member of the ACC. So I'm going to count it. And it's an important game for both of these teams if they want to make the playoffs. So yes, I am counting this game. Week 10, I did not realize this game was going to happen. Liberty at Ole Miss. Hugh Freeze at Liberty against his old team at Ole Miss. Those fans are going to be fired up. This might be a must-watch game in 2021. I know I'm going to be watching it. Week 11, really the only non-conference game that I could find that could possibly be interesting. Notre Dame at Virginia. Who knows? Maybe. I don't know. Week 12. Yes, another Notre Dame game. Georgia Tech at Notre Dame. Maybe it's interesting. Probably not. Then Louisiana against Liberty. That really could be a good game. And it is in Lynchburg, so Liberty will have the home field advantage. This might be a very important game for both of these teams. Now it's on to Week 13. This is rivalry weekend. First, we have Notre Dame against Stanford. Like I said, Stanford had an unexpected good season last year, so this is going to be a tough road test for Notre Dame. BYU and USC, that could be a good game. I don't know how bad BYU is going to be this year, so if they turned out to be above average, USC might have trouble because they're inconsistent. Army at Liberty. Yes, I am interested in watching this game. Army has had a great defense. Liberty came out of nowhere last year. Yeah, I'm going to watch this game. Georgia Tech in Atlanta. Georgia Tech will be better, but I do expect Georgia to win this by 2 touchdowns. But it might be competitive going into the fourth quarter. Kentucky and Louisville. Kentucky, their coaches are expecting Kentucky to contend for the SEC East. Good for you. You need all the confidence you can handle. Louisville will have a bounce-back season. I expect Louisville to make a bowl. This will be a good game. The Palmetto rivalry, Clemson at South Carolina. Look, it is a rivalry, I guess, even though Clemson has dominated the series. It is in Columbia. Strange things can happen in these rivalry games, especially with the superior team having to go on the road. But Clemson's talent level is just far superior than South Carolina, and they haven't had any trouble in Columbia as of recently, so I expect Clemson to win this comfortably. The only non-conference game remaining from here on out is the Army-Navy game. Sometimes I'll watch it, sometimes I don't. I know. That's probably a sin. Does that make me not patriotic? I don't think so. But if both of these teams are halfway decent, I will watch this game. We'll see. If I forgot a non-conference game where you're like, hey, Golden Blue Dude, you forgot about this non-conference game. This could be a good one. Let me know in the comments section. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you on my next show.